Okay, I got my project all glued up here. Now it's time to start making the drawer. So what I have here is some material that I milled up off camera that's 1/2 inch thick. And it's just big enough to fit in here. Not too loose, not too tight. You want a little bit of wiggle room there. So it's kind of like what you did on your nightstand project. And then what I'm going to do is go to the table saw like you did on your nightstand project. And I'm going to set my table saw blade so that I cut a groove down the board like this, so that I get a little spot for my bottom to live in. I think you've done this before in your nightstand project. So what I'll do, again, that's where I want the material to be removed right there. So it's 1/4 inch from here to here and 1/4 from here to here. And the height of the blade is going to be 1/4 inch. So over at the table saw, what we'll do is I'm going to set the height of the blade off the table to 1/4 inch. And again, I'm going to use my square here, so I have this distance from here to here. It's 1/4. And I'll put this on the table like this and make sure that the height is 1/4 inch above the table. And then I'll measure 1/4 inch from the inside of the blade to the fence. And then I'll run my board through. That'll give me one line or one curve. And then I'll scoot the fence over a little bit and finish my cut to that line. And that way I'll have all my spots for my bottoms to live in. And I'll do that off camera, because I believe you've done this before. All right, back from the table saw, I got my grooves cut in the board there, so it will accept the bottom. I can get a little chisel or something and pop that little piece of wood out later. I'm gonna make my drawer box pieces now, so I'm gonna cut them to length. So what I got set up here is my project. And what I wanna do is cut my 2 side pieces so that they go to the back, and then I'm gonna make a mark and cut it 3/4 inch shorter than that mark. So that's the mark I just made right there, and that goes into the way I did that again was I put the project or the drawer side in there, and then I just made a mark. Then I'm gonna cut this 3/4 inch shorter this way. So if that's my mark, I'm gonna come back 3/4 that way and cut them that size, because what I want is to make the drawer smaller so that when our drawer front fits in there, it becomes even right here, nice and flush. So again, I'll mark that 3/4 inch back from that line and make that cut using a stop block on the chop saw. And then I'll make my front and back pieces for the drawer. Okay, do that off camera. All right, I got my 2 side pieces cut. Now I want to put these side pieces in and measure the distance between my 2 sides. So I'm going to go from the inside of here to the inside of here, and then make those 2 cuts again on the chop saw. So in this case, it's going to be, sorry if my back's in your way, but it's going to be, on you little bugger. Oh, 5 3/4 is the exact number, so I'm going to go a little bit under that. So I'll go for 5 and a little over 11/16. And then that way I have a little bit of wiggle room so that my drawer doesn't get stuck. All right, so I'll make those cuts off camera, and then we'll do the next step. Okay, I got my little pieces here cut. So that'll fit in there nicely like that. Now what we got to do is attach our sides and our front like this. And we're going to use that dowel technique we used on our nightstand project in wood 1. So I want to make a mark 1/4 inch off from this surface. So that's going to look like this. I'm just going to use my little finger trick here. Measurement's probably a better way to do it. So there's my 1/4 inch mark. And then I'm going to come in and down 3/4 of an inch. So make a mark at 3/4. Make a mark at 3/4. And then I'll go to the drill press with a, so here's my 2 marks here. So from here to here is 3/4, and from here to here is 3/4, and 1/4 inch down. And then I'm going to use a 1/4 inch brad point bit on the drill press to drill the holes all the way through on just the side pieces, not the front and back pieces. And then again, I don't think you need to see me drill some holes on the piece of wood, so I'll do that off camera. And then for the next step. Okay. So I got this dry clamped up like we did on our nightstand project. So I got my holes drilled, and then I got my, I also cut the back on the table saw so I can accept the bottom after I'm done gluing it together. So what I'm gonna do now is label where everything goes, so when I pull it apart, I can put it back in the same spot. And after I'm done labeling, I'll drill the holes so that the dowels can find their home. So like this is the way it's labeled. So we have B and B, A and A, C and C, D and D on the bottom. And then what I'll do is, now that I have those holes drilled in the drill press, I can use those as guides. I can use those as guides to drill in this way. But what I want to do is put it in a vise or clamp it to the workbench so that it's nice and stable, and I can kind of put 2 hands on the drill. So maybe that'll work. Nope. I'll just do it like this. It gets you situated on a bless you. Thank you. So situate like this and go ahead and drill my holes. You want to go, what I'll do is go another 1/2 inch deep. So 1/2 inch plus a 1/2 inch is 1 inch. I'm going to go get a piece of masking tape and put the masking tape right here on the drill so I know where to stop. 1 inch down from right there. Okay, so I'll do that off camera. Okay, with those holes drilled, here's my setup here. Got my 1/4 inch. Drill it with my tape 1 inch down. I'm going to use my dowel here and going to drive those in. So I'm going to glue it together. I'm going to cut these a little longer than I need it to be with these pair of cutters. So I'll cut 8 of those, glue it together, wait for it to dry, and then I think I'll put the bottom in after that. So, and then once the bottom's in, then we got to fit the drawer front. So off camera, I'll go ahead and, well, maybe I'll do it on camera. That way you can kind of see the technique I'm using here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the ground is 8. So I'm going to need a hammer. And then I'll pull it apart, put glue here, and then take some of that extra and use it on the end grain of these. Go like this, so I can see my letters. A little bit of there, a little bit here, and then fingers crossed everything kind of goes in together. So I'll clamp it back together in the clamps here. Actually, I'm not sure if I need to do that. What I can do is just set them up like that. Put a little glue on the dowel. Probably too much, but wipe it off. And then I'll start it. With that process, a little bit of glue on the dowel. Start it. Like that, and then make sure my A's and A's are lined up. And then now it's good. So I'll repeat that process, and then when I'm gonna glue it together and then clamp it and let it sit overnight. All right, I'll do that off camera. So before I let it dry overnight, I thought I'd show you the clamps. So this is the way it looks like when it's all clamped and wet, and then I'll go ahead and let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll fit the bottom and the front to it. All right.